All right, and we are live. Welcome everyone to Fleet Office Hours. Thanks for tuning in and being here. This is all live, so no rough script, but nothing really very specific. So a lot of like debugging, real stuff. So the purpose of this is I'll be answering technical questions about Fleet. Deployment configuration, code base, anything you're curious about. I decided to kind of add a theme to kind of every office hour. So the theme for today is Android certificates. Basically just, so there's something that people can expect. So you don't have to just tune in for questions. I think that's a, I've been doing some research, and that's a generally kind of a good idea to have a theme for office hours. So people know what to expect, as well as if people want to watch later, they can come back to this one. All right, so of course I don't have all the answers, or I don't know everything, but you'll see me perhaps struggle, maybe hopefully not too much, to figure stuff out, and hopefully things will go smoothly so I'm not stuck forever, but I could be stuck forever. All right, so if things are quiet in chat, so I'll be working, I have a couple things on the agenda. Let me see myself, okay. And occasionally other people drop by, but I think today's probably just gonna be me. So thanks again here, and let's get started. So I did switch to my screen. I'm still here, it is starting. Okay, I just wanted to reorganize this a little bit. So first on today's plan is to talk about modularizing Fleet. So we've had kind of an attempt at some modularization earlier this year with Android. As we started developing Android, we tried to kind of modularize it a little bit. There's been some mixed success with that, and I think the next step is we want to kind of go farther into modularization, and we have an ADR right now to pilot creating an activity to create a bounded context. So bounded context is a domain-driven design, DDD term, basically roughly meaning a module, right? A standalone unit that a single team could own. A single team could own multiple bounded contexts, but basically defines clear ownership. So what I wanted to say about this one, it is up, it is available, but I did want to kind of step back and talk about modularization in general. Okay, so let's talk about why modularization matters, right? So every successful engineering organization eventually hits kind of the same wall, the monolith, and we are a monolith right now. We are a single deployed backend piece of code. So the monolith becomes too big for humans to safely and quickly understand. So GitLab, Shopify, other companies all kind of reached the same point where engineers were stepping on each other's changes, causing merge conflicts, regressions, and hours or days of wasted effort. So our Go code base is about 500,000 lines of code. So as the code bases generally grow into hundreds of thousands and millions lines of code, kind of two big things start to happen. First, teams begin unintentionally overwriting or colliding with each other's work, right? We've already seen this ourselves. Recently, we had two groups modifying the same tables or the same service code, and they were unnoticed by our current processes, and that caused a multi-day cleanup, like a waste of effort. GitLab actually publicly documented this exact same point. Unclear ownership, broad service layers, code spread across too many places to reason about safely. Now, the second thing that starts happening is productivity drops because everything is everywhere, right? When every package depends on every other package, small changes force engineers to understand unrelated parts of the system. That slows development, increases review load, right? Makes it harder to review when the changes are like all over the place, and raises the risk of introducing bugs. I think the industry calls this cognitive overload, right? Eventually the system becomes too big for any one engineer to fully understand. So modularization solves these problems. It creates clear boundaries, clear ownership, and smaller units of change, so teams stop stepping on each other's toes and move quicker. Currently, we're seeing bug escapes, tasks taking longer to complete, and then complex bug fixes that need to be refixed multiple times, as well as other inefficiencies. And that's not a failure of people, it's a failure of structure, right? And great companies fix the structure. We're not modularizing because that would be nice in some ideal world. We're doing this because every long-lived product that scaled kind of hit this same pain we're hitting now and pretty much took this exact path, right? Modularization isn't about bureaucracy or slowing anyone down. It's the opposite. It's about giving every team a space or multiple spaces that they can own completely, where they can move fast with confidence and without worrying that their change might cause issues in some other parts of the code base. It's about making the system understandable again. It's about creating an architecture that enables velocity, not restricts it. So our code base is 10 years old. So this modularization process that we're trying to get going, it's about building Fleet's foundation for the next 10 years, right? With an architecture that will hold up as we double, triple, and quadruple in size. All right, that's what I wanted to say about modularization, right? And this is kind of a message that we as a company, me specifically as well, as someone who's like trying to drive this effort, needs to communicate and reiterate, right? Because people forget, people have different priorities, and sometimes we need to kind of re-emphasize the message to make sure that all of engineering and perhaps our customers or other contributors are kind of on the same page regarding where we're trying to go and why. Okay, that's all I want to do for covering modularization. Just to let you guys be aware that that is something that's happening, and maybe we'll come back to it later in the next future office hours. Now let's talk about Android certificates. So I did some stuff on it last time. So we do have some updates. We've had about roughly five engineers kind of working on this feature. And first I wanted to kind of go high level how this feature works, and then we'll actually try to make it work. I thought I could get like something set up, something like ready to work, but I wasn't able to. So we'll just try to see what we have in the code base and try to make it all work. Right? It wasn't just me working on it; it was a whole team effort. Part of my team, most of my team, the security and compliance team, as well as the orchestration team. So lots of great people working on Android certificates. So I wanted to show kind of the flow chart, right? How does this feature work? All right, so there's two parts to it. Okay, so we have Fleet UI or GitOps. So in the current version, we're only allowing changes with GitOps. There's also an API, so you can use an API for this. In the next sprint, we'll make sure we'll add the UI, so you'll be able to click around. So I'll actually be able to like show stuff instead of just talking about it. But at least we have this flowchart. All right, so we have an API. IT admins basically adds a certificate to a team or to no team. And so we have certificate authorities. I can show that, I hope, right? We have certificate authorities. So if I go to, if I remember where to go, settings, integration certificates. We actually don't have any certificates. Am I in the wrong team? Integration certificates. So we have certificate authorities. I thought we'd have some, but we don't, which is a shame. And we support different types of protocols. So for Android, initially, we're going to be supporting SCEP, Simplest Certificate Enrollment Protocol. And basically here, let me turn off my 1Password somehow. There we go. Here we give your URL and then a challenge. Let's see, give me a second to check something. My paranoia. Just a second. Okay, cool. Just making sure I'm not leaking any secrets. Security conscious and all that. All right, I think we're fine. I don't think I leaked anything. All right, skip URL in the challenge. Pretty straightforward. And a name. So we have this certificate authority, and this certificate authority can issue multiple certificates. Each certificate can have a different subject, different common name, etc. So once you have a certificate authority, you can add, internally we're calling it like a certificate template, but basically it contains like your common name, organization, all that stuff. So we can add that to a team. Then every 30 seconds, we have a job that runs. So there's the same job that pushes out, updates profiles. Same job that's going to update profiles on Androids is also going to update these certs. It's going to run a job, and it's going to update this thing called manage config. So manage config is something that applications can have, and I can actually show kind of where to find it. So we have the Android Management API. Oops, reference. So we're talking about policies. This is the actual call we're going to be using, modify policy applications. Let me see, manage, and then we should have manage configuration template. That's something a bit different, but related. Managed. Why am I not seeing managed configuration? Wow. Whew. Yeah. It's a generic object, so basically you can pass in anything, and then the app on Android is going to see it. So I did cover this last time. Why do we need an app? Right, because the MDM protocol, the Android Management API, does not kind of support SCEP out of the box. So we need to send an app, specifically send our own code, our own SCEP client that's going to fetch certificates and then store them in the keychain. So that's another thing. So we have our own app. Let's talk about how that app is going to be deployed. So our Android host is enrolled. So that's a simple enroll process. You go to your team, host, no team, you add hosts. And you, let me show my local version better, which I'm not running. So let me spin up my local version. Spin up my local version. I thought it was running, it's strange. Fleet, make. This is okay, it's already done, it should be done. Okay, that's why I didn't see the UI, there's some errors. Expected version 2014. I mean, I understand, but I don't understand why. NVM or something like that. Yeah. Generate dev. There we going. Okay. All right, just starting up. Just run. See if it's fine. Okay, missing migrations. This is all we do all the time. I thought I added one more migration. Let me double check. We're in main. Let me pull in the latest. I thought I added like one more migration recently. Just want to make sure I have all the latest code in here. Okay, so it looks like I was missing. Whoa, 54 commits. Okay, cool. This is rebuilding. Automatically, I'm running air to rebuild. Let's quit this, it's not distracting. Build, we need to run the migration, pretty sure. And we are running. Okay, come on. Front end is having issues. Why is front end having issues? Did I break it? I think it's fine. It's fine. This is fine. Just I'm checking, make sure I'm not leaking any secrets. I need to be more careful. I'm trying to like move quickly, but at the same time, you know, I'm part of the security team, so I have to be security conscious. Just run. Maybe I need a separate environment. Okay. All right, all this just to go here. Settings, teams, let's create a new team. Dummy team, demo. Delete me team. And then go to hosts. I go to my team and I say, I want to add a host. That's interesting. Why is this blurred out? Oh. Okay, Android. Okay, I must have, it must be tied to localhost and not to dogfood. That's interesting. Anyway, I just created a new team just so I can show this. Let's unblur this. Oh, okay, I see. I know why. But then you have this URL, right, with an enroll secret that you use to enroll your devices, your Android devices, and then you would copy this to your Android device. for example, let me see my device manager, running devices. Let's see, this is going to be up. This is a virtual device. I actually don't need it to be running. Can I kill it? And this one, actually, my real device. I think it's already enrolled, but you would go up here, you would enter that URL, and then you would enroll your device. We might end up doing that. All right, all to that, just showing how to enroll Android devices. Okay, back to the flowchart. Okay, so Android host is enrolled, and by default, everyone gets a policy, and it's like pretty simple. Just has like a few settings. Like we can. I'm not gonna dive down deep into everything. I'll dive into some things. But like everyone gets a default policy on installation, and then later we override it. We have this thing called software worker that runs, and that's going to overwrite the default policy with a host specific policy. So currently the way we have it designed is every host gets its own policy, because we've got like a lot of features like labels, teams, etc. So there's like a combination of things that could make every host have a different policy. So we just like from the start designed it so that every host has its own unique policy. And as part of that, we install our agent. So in my case, the agent is already installed on here, although we need to update it. Fleet agent. In production, there's not going to be an icon, so it's going to run in the background here. We just have a UI just for debug purposes. This is so pixelated. Can I make it nicer? Okay. And there we go. Fixed itself. All right. All right, so agent is installed. So how does the app actually start? Like I mentioned, there's no icon, so the app has to start on its own. So we're using kind of like an MDM feature to install this app, which causes the app to launch on install. So this is an important thing, because normally when you install an Android app from an app store or anywhere, it actually cannot do anything. Like it cannot interact with the system. It can not run on its own until the user actually launches it. And once the user launches it, then there's like a bunch of things that app can do, like schedule that it's gonna start itself when the device starts, or schedule a worker that runs, every 15 minutes, however. But before it can do any of that, the user actually has to click on the button and open its app. So once you open an app on Android, normally, that app can do anything it can. Before that, it cannot receive any notifications. It can't do anything. It cannot take any CPU, and that is a security feature, good security feature. However, for device management, if the app is installed kind of through this manage config, it is possible to kind of set a special flag that makes the app launch itself. So app launches itself, again, in the background, and then the app is going to launch itself when on boot. By the way, the user can disable work profile on Android. So if I go here, I go here, I go to work. Well, in settings. It used to be that it was right there. Anyway, in settings, if I go to manage accounts, and I go to work, man, I have to go pretty far. I feel like the new phones, the new OS. This is iOS, Android 14. I think iOS 16. There's like a slider, like lets you disable. I actually have to go here, and then I have to click this. So now my work profile is asleep, and user can make it go to sleep and it can be asleep, you know, however long. It still shows up here, but it's obvious that it's asleep. New features, I think the toggle is down here, so you can just toggle it sleep down here, but I don't even see the toggle here. So here in this older version, Android 14, I actually have to go to settings, work profile settings, and enable it. But that is an important feature of kind of bring your own BYOD Android devices, is you can make the work profile go to sleep. This means that, you know, you turn off your notifications, you don't get any work notifications. You're also maybe saving on battery because it's possible that you have like corporate apps running, checking stuff in. In our case, yes, currently that's how it works. We might change it later. In fact, it probably makes sense to change it later, right? Because we have a worker that runs every 15 minutes. So every 15 minutes, the app is gonna check its managed config just to see, right, if an IT admin changed something, right? If they want the device to have a new cert, we'll probably add new features later, but yeah, that's how it works. The reason I said we might change this is instead of doing a worker, we might do notifications. So, and which will be like more real time, but it does add like a little bit more infrastructure on our end because the app needs to register with FCM. I forget what it stands for. FCM. And then we need to keep track of that token to send notifications through. So it's a little bit more infrastructure for this initial approach. We just decided like every 15 minutes is fine. Let me take a drink of coffee. We're about halfway through. Feel free to tell me to hurry up or to get to the code. I just think it's an important foundation. Just how to understand how everything's supposed to work, right? So the app reads its managed config. And basically, the app checks, does it have an API key, right? It's called Orbit Node key, but it's basically an API key to communicate with Fleet. If the app doesn't, which it will not, then it'll hit the enroll endpoint. And this enroll endpoint is the same enroll endpoint that we use for OS Query or Orbit agents. Same enroll endpoint we use for other agents or for other platforms. Right, it'll hit this enroll endpoint, and this enroll endpoint will return it Orbit Node key here, but it's actually the API key. So then the app has an API key. Currently, the app is using this same enroll secret that we see here. But eventually it'll have one-time secret, right? Because this enroll secret is stored in managed configs, and these managed configurations, they can be read from a debug tool. So we want to make it more secure in the future and just have a one-time secret. Okay. Yeah, let's go down the happy path. So it got its API key, and then we store this key encrypted. We encrypt it in a key that's in the keychain, and we store the API key encrypted. So then what do? We looked at our managed configs, right? I guess for reference, let's take a look at like what the managed configs actually look like. See if I can find it. Managed con agent managed configuration right here. Here we go. We send the server URL. The server URL to where to enroll. We send the host identifier, and we send in the enroll secret. Right, these are the three things that are needed to enroll and get an API key. And then we send these certificate template IDs, and these are just IDs. We send a list of IDs for the agent to install. Okay, so when we're at this point in the flowchart, we're talking about IDs. So new certs available, right? Other new IDs in this manage configs. If there's none, we are done, and then we'll circle back around in 15 minutes. Oh, by the way, just important things to think about when we're thinking about distributed systems is if we're not able to retrieve a key, like maybe the fleet server was down, right? We will kind of finish over here, but in 15 minutes we'll try again. So in the first iteration, this will keep trying to get an API key forever. Eventually, we probably want to limit the number of tries because maybe for some reason it had a bad enroll secret. Maybe we pushed it out to the app, then somehow we got disconnected from the MDM. So we don't want the app to just drain users' battery and keep trying this forever and ever. Okay, back to here. So we got a list of IDs. Then for each certificate, we call this endpoint. It's a new endpoint, and it's going to be authenticated by this Orbit key, and this authentication is going to be in the header. So it's going to use like kind of the standard authorization header. And then the certificate. So what is a certificate? I guess let's talk about this. Like, what exactly are we going to retrieve here? So let's take a look at it. Key certificates. Get certified certificate template, which is down here. I think we're working on fixing this authorization right now. And yeah, so we get the certificate template ID. Let's see, what type is it? Certificate template response full. A little bit of a mouthful. So we got response summary and response full. Okay, so it's got the response summary plus additional stuff. So it's got the ID, it's got the name. It got the certificate authority ID. So the certificate authority ID is the certificate authority that we covered earlier when we went to set up our CAs, right? CAs, integrations, certificates. So once you add a CA, it's going to have an ID. So that's the ID we're talking about. Certificate authority name, which is needed, right? That's the name here that you add up here. Created at, okay, so we know it's created at, that's fine. Subject name. So what is a subject, right? Subject is that contains your common name, organization, all that extra stuff you want to put into your certificate signing request. Certificate authority type. So that is the type of this certificate authority, like custom EST, custom SCEP, DigiCert, etc. So in the first iteration, we're only supporting custom SCEP. Status. Status can be, where is it defined? Here we go. Type string, that's fine. Failed, verified, verifying, pending. So we will only be, the client will only be fetching certificate if the status is pending, right? If the status is verified, that means it should already have the cert. Maybe there was a race condition or something. And if the status has failed, that means either it tried to fetch a cert earlier, or for some reason the server marked it as failed before even sending it to the Android client. Let's go back to the flowchart. Yeah, so that subject, it can contain fleet variables like I think host UUID, IDP user, right? So IDP user, in case you kind of enrolled with your company username, password, you can have that. You can have your company username, company email as part of, some part of your certificate, whether it's in the common name or somewhere else in your certificate. All right, so we got a certificate and we check the status. Like I mentioned, if the status is not pending, we actually mark the cert, like we process it. The Android device doesn't need to worry about it again. The status could be null in some rare cases where we're still kind of the user added the cert, but it hasn't been kind of sent. Let me think. Yeah. In the rare cases, user added a cert, it's been sent over MDM, but maybe there's a race condition where like the device is trying to fetch that cert before like the database has been updated. I mean, think about it. I just made a fix where I don't think it's possible to get a null status there anyway, but we're calling it out and we're just kind of ignoring it. What does that mean? That means if the status is perpetually null, we'll perpetually be trying to fetch it. But I think it's fine because I think it should never be null. Never say never. Okay, but let's talk about the happy path. Happy path is pending. So pending, we want the cert to be on our device. And so here we just kind of largely go through a standard SCAP protocol. SCAP protocol is an old protocol for basically retrieving a certificate. You have a URL, you have a challenge, and then there's like 3 API endpoints you hit, where kind of you like wrap your payload in a private key that you generate on the device. Let me think. Yeah. Private key that you generate on the device, and then CA has the private key of the CA, and so the CA is able to unwrap it because the device wraps it in the CA's public key. So there's several layers of wrapping involved. But basically, this protocol was created before even HTTPS, so it is secure over regular HTTP. So even if anyone snoops on the traffic between the device and the server, they will not be able to unwrap it. Even Fleet is acting as a proxy. Even Fleet is unable to look at the internals of the certificate or of the certificate request. All right, we generate a private key, generate the certificate signing request, then we use the SCAP protocol to get the cert, and then we store the cert and the private key in the keychain of Android. If it's successful, well, let's talk about if it's not successful. Again, something, network, bad connection, whatever, we will retry up to 3 times. And the retry is going to happen next time around. So retry is going to happen in about 15 minutes. And then in either case, if it's successful, we call this endpoint FleetD certificate status verified, and we put the status as verified. If we retried 3 times and we still can't get a cert, then we mark the status as failed. And then once the status is there on the server, right, we'll update the status on host details. Let's look at some hosts. Do I have a Mac host? I think it's offline. Yeah, so up here, and in the status is going to be talking about this status up here. Okay, so I think we went over the diagram. All right, so let's see where we are, where we have, what code do we have, and what we can do. So what I want to do is I want to, actually try to get this working. Let's see what code we have in the code base and get it deployed. So first, I want to deploy the app that we have. So let me do that. We go to Android Studio. We have all the code here. We have a README here. Let me see if I can pull it up, because I have a README because I can't remember everything I'm supposed to do. README. Let me close this. So I want to create a release build. So I have a key store that I've been using. Too bad I forgot what it is, but I think it's saved here. Let me see, code. Let me see where I put my key store. So I think I put it like in Android keys, okay. Dev throwaway key store. So it's got a key, it's got an alias, it's got a password. So normally with IDE, I would go up here and I would really build code, inspect code, build. Here we go, generate app bundle. So what we need is an app bundle. Whoops. Oh, here we go. Generate signed app bundle. Okay, we want it signed. Next. Okay, so I have the key. Yes, it is the right key. It's the key alias is dev key. Okay. Save this. Let me do it on the command line. So this code is released, so anyone can try it right now. I have the key, so in my properties, I put this in my properties, key store properties. Okay, that's fine. Do I have key store properties here? I do. No, I don't. I mentioned it. So I need to create a key store properties, new file, key store properties. That's where the key is. The alias, I already forgotten it. I created this alias before I created these instructions, so it's a little, let's go like dev key or something. Dev key, yep. Dev key. This is the key store. Store password. I think it's this. It's like a dummy password I use for testing. Okay. Key store properties. And then we run it. So where we are, fleet Android, work fleet Android. And then we do this bundle release. Okay, and that puts it over here, app build outputs. Okay. So another thing we do is we need to find where we upload it. Eventually this app is going to be public, right? So everyone's going to use the same app. It's just going to be different configs, but we don't have the app out yet. So we need to put it up somewhere for testing. So we put it in the Google Play Store. So let me recall how we do this. So let me create a new terminal. And we have this tool Android, tools Android, and go run android.go. Does it show anything? Fleet dev Android Google service credentials must be set. Where do we have the credentials? We do have a file here, so let's set the credentials. Like this. Okay. We got these commands, so we need to run web token. Basically, this is going to create a token that will let us log in to the App Store and update our app. And then we need the enterprise. We need the enterprise ID. Okay. Dash command. This is the command. And then we need our enterprise ID, which we can get from our fleet server. If we go to settings, settings controls, integrations, MDM. We click here and we get our Android enterprise ID. It's all good. And then we have Google Play Store URL. We click on it. The app should already be here. And this reminds me that I actually need to rebuild it because we need to set the version and set the package name. So I forgot that part of the process because I thought I knew what I was doing. So we need to go back and see where we do this. We say release build. Where do we do this? It should be in the instructions. Build, design, release. Strange. Deploying, I think it's like over here. Deploying via Android MDM. It's in build Gradle KTS. We set the application ID here. That's all that matters. And then version name is 1.5. I think I just match it. I think that's how I roll. So let's rebuild it. Let's rebuild it. It is here. App build outputs bundle. App build outputs bundle. So it is fleet Android app build outputs bundle. Release. This is it. Save. It's not immediate. It takes about 10 minutes. Well, it could be pretty quick. I don't know. I'm just waiting to see if there's any errors. Okay, so let's think about the next thing we're going to do. So we put the app up on Google Play. Next, let's actually set up a, like if I click on it, it still has the old version, so it still hasn't updated it. Just to jump ahead a bit, what I would do just to kind of speed this up, not right now because I can't, but I would go to my device. I would go to the apps. No, not here. Yeah, here. Yeah, I would go to apps. I would go to the Play Store. And the Play Store will have all the kind of corporate apps. And I would click on this one, and then there may be an update button. Let me see, does this have a version? It should. Last update November 24th. Well, at least I know, it's old. Let me see if it has a version. It does have a version. So you can double check your version down here. 1.4. We just uploaded 1.5. So once everything comes through, there should be like an upgrade button, or it'll upgrade by itself. Okay, let's go back and kind of set up some stuff. So to deploy certificates, we need a CA. So let's go ahead and create one. Integrations, certificates. Let me double check any questions. We got 10 minutes left. Last chance. Ask some questions about anything. Add a CA, custom skep, name, test. Let's just call it custom skep. Skep URL. I'm not sure. Do we check it? $80. Do I have anything on 81? Well, let's assume I don't. Huh. It's not letting, it doesn't like localhost. I guess I need to reroute the traffic to somewhere else. Whatever, abc.com. Let's put a dummy URL. It might not work. Challenge. Whatever. Doesn't matter. Not a real CA. I'm just testing the flow. Okay. Invalid skep URL. So it actually tries that skep URL. The server actually tries that skep URL to make sure it works. So which skep are we using in our CI? Let's go take a look at our CI. So it's called test Android. So we're actually using in an integration skep, we're using a skep server that we start from. Here we go. It's I probably have this Android MDM skep. I wonder if I have this checked out. Skep. I do. Git pull. Everything's up to date. Git. Yeah, this is it. I just do the same thing we do in CI. Just gonna do the same thing. Just keep things simple. I need to build it. Check out. Build it. Yeah, sure. Let's build it. It's built. Let's create a CA here. And let's launch it on port 81. Let me double check. What am I forwarding? I'm forwarding all these ports. 81, 82. I don't have anything running on these ports. So let's use 83. Wrong copy paste. Apologize for the small screen. MP3. So what I'm trying to do, just to spin up a dummy skep server. It's running in the background, but it should pre-print stuff here. And then I need to forward this port to a real URL. So let me kill this. Need to edit ngrok. So static. I have all these ports I'm not using. So we're doing skep. Yes, skep. Surprised I didn't have a skep port already. This is YAML, I believe. Address HTTP localhost 8083 proto HTTP host name skep get Victor and grok.io exit start all. Doesn't like it. YAML parsing error. Mapping skep already defined. So I already have a skep port. Did I miss it? My bad. Tunnels app SSO static skep. Oh wow. Oh, I wonder if 2016 is the default port. Wow, that was something. Okay. That was something. So we need 2016. So let's try it. Let's kill it and start it on 2016. Skep get Victor and grok.io. Okay, now we got 2 minutes. Let's make this work. We can do this. Custom skep get Victor and grok.io. Do I need to do like forward skep? What do we do here? Yeah, forward skep. Yep. Forward skep. Password is test challenge 123. Okay, we have added this. Now we need to add our Android template. So we have an endpoint for it. Handler.go, it's like certificate something. What do we call it? Certificate. There's a lot of, it's not here. There's a lot of certificate endpoints we have. Certificate authorities, certificates, back certificates, yes. Oh. Okay, side. I want to double check this endpoint because batch delete, I see batch delete. We have a batch delete endpoint. Certificate template IDs. Oh, okay, delete templates, yes. Makes sense. Oh, here's where we apply. So we need to send something to this endpoint using this format. Name, team, certificate authority ID. I'm not a fan of this. Yeah, this doesn't make sense. Because like with GitOps, you should be able to create certificate authority. and this at the same time, but this implies you need to know the ID before you create the authority. This feels like, this feels like it's not like a one-time apply. Like you have to create an authority, then you have to do this. I think a better approach would be a name. If you could accept a certificate authority name. Maybe this is just for speed we did this. Anywho, thanks for joining it. I know I went over diagrams a lot. Hopefully you found this useful. Next time we'll try to do a different topic. All right. Have a great day, everyone.